Hello, my name is Artem Safarov, and I am the game designer for A Shred of Redemption, a game being published as part of Solo Game of the Month series. In this video, I'm going to do a playthrough of the game using its prototype. I hope it will be helpful for you in familiarizing yourself with how the game plays and feels. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to a demo playthrough of A Shred of Redemption, a solo game for about 15 minutes where you are charged with saving the soul of a medieval noble who has spent their life doing horrible things: violence, betrayal, oppression of commoners, all the fun stuff that medieval nobles are known for. And towards the end of their life, our noble decides that that's not how they want to spend their life, and they try to correct many of the mistakes that they've made by doing good things. And we are going to see if we can bring balance into this disturbed individual's life and restore a semblance of contentedness and being able to live with himself. The way that we're going to do it is we're going to draw 5 dice that will represent the horrible things that our noble has done, and we will then draw 5 cards from this redemption deck that will tell us what kind of tokens will go into our bag. We will then try to use the abilities of the tokens in our bag and the abilities of the card that we have selected to try to match the bad things that our noble has done. And if we succeed, we'll win the game. So let's dive right into it. The first thing that we do is randomly select one by one 5 dice that will represent the awful things that they have done. This is a tyranny die, so the most likely vice that's going to come from it is the vice of pride or vanity, however you want to call it. So we know that we're going to need to oppose the vice of pride. Now we know that it is the humility virtue that makes up for pride. So let's see what kind of card we're going to get. I have accidentally gotten 3 cards, my bad. So we are picking from these 2 cards. We can either lead a simple life or support the poor. Now, leading the simple life gives us, it's important, every card has 2 components. One, over here, it shows what kind of tokens will be added to your token bag. And 2, the bottom shows an ability that you will be able to trigger if you pick this card. So as we talked about, pride requires humility to counterbalance, and we know that this card gives us a couple of humility tokens. So I immediately want our noble to lead a simple life as the first way of making up for his misdeeds. The second die we're going to get is, as luck would have it, another tyranny die with lots of pride or vanity to counteract. So let's see what kind of second card we're going to go to. Let's see. So we can either look for peace in solitude, or more fun, we can reject luxury of being a noble and look at how much humility is generated by rejecting luxury, which is great. That's exactly what we will need. Now, I should note that it's not just because we will be rolling the tyranny die does not mean that we'll automatically have pride to counteract. Each die has 6 faces, and 3 of the faces will have its dominant vice, in this case pride, and 3 other side will have unrelated vice. But the chances are still pretty good that if we roll this die, most likely we'll need pride, we'll need to counteract pride, and humility is what we'll need for that. So our second card we'll pick is also going to be this, rejection of luxury. At this point, I'm mindful that my token bag is getting very humility heavy. So we don't want that to be the only thing that we're able to produce. So I will be unlikely to pick more cards that give me more humility. I will want to diversify a little bit. The third one that we pulled is this die that talks mostly about greed being the predominant sin, predominant vice. So okay, the next thing that we're going to look for, we know that what counteracts greed, it's of course charity. So let's see if one of the options available to us is giving a little bit more to the poor. Now that's not fantastic. Neither one of these cards gives us any charity. But this one gives us more humility, and we already talked how we're not going to want to do that. I'm kind of tempted to probably go for this one. We'll get a lot of diligence. Diligence is used mostly to re-roll these dice, so that's going to be a helpful ability. Number 5, the 4 dice, is another greed die. I should note that there are a few of dice of the same color in the bag, so depending on how your pulling goes, you might have a very samey kind of set of dice to counteract, or it can be a widespread. These things will inform what kind of cards you are picking to counteract them. But for now, I see here that I'm still looking for some charity, so I hope some of these cards will give me more charity. No luck for this. We can either inspect the archives or improve communities. I'm not loving this because neither of this gives me a lot of charity to put into my bag. I'm not happy about that. But I feel like I already have quite a few diligence thanks to my perfecting a craft. So let's diversify, let's inspect the archives. And our die number 5 is going to be a war die. So war most likely will generate wrath. Right, wrath is counteracted by kindness, as our little reminder cards here will tell us. And that means that the last card, I am going to be looking for either kindness or charity tokens to add to my bag. So here I can either build some homes for commoners, or I can feed the hungry. When I feed the hungry, note, I do get a couple of charity tokens into my bag. So let's grab that. We know that we will need that, those charity tokens. Now, we know our dice, we know our cards. So the next thing that happens is we are going to put together our dice pool. Our token bag. So at this point, the remaining dice are going to get emptied out of the bag here. Bye. And now we're going to put together our token bag. Every token bag will have, I have my stash of tokens over there under the camera. So every token bag will start with 1 token of every kind for every virtue. So we'll have kindness, learning, diligence, restraint, humility, and the last one, of course, I know this, is going to be charity. That same thing that we're just looking for so much. Now, to balance all those good things, we will have a bunch of regret. Regret are basically bad tokens that we're trying to avoid making their way into our formation as we try to match the things that we have that we are going to pull out of our dice. So this is the basic content of any token bag. And now we get to add the things according to the cards that we picked. So here I see that I get to put 5 humility tokens into it. So now I'm just going to do my best here to quickly put together the contents as dictated by the cards that I have selected. It's going to take me just a quick little bit here. So thank you for bearing with me. I'm going to need a lot of these little diligence. Okay, so all I need now is just a couple of humility. So that's 3, 3, 3, 3 and 2, and that is it. So now that concludes our creation of the token bag. Very cool. So all of that gets shuffled into this very nice bag. The cards remain with us. The cards can be used for one of 2 purposes as we're going to be playing the game. The first purpose is we can always use the ability on the card. So our simple life will allow us to turn 3 tokens to used side to add any token to the end of the row. That's a very powerful ability. We like being able to add tokens. This allows us to turn a sloth die roll into anything else. Same thing here for ambition, vice. Now the only thing here is that we're not quite sure which die rolls we're going to have to deal with. And now we're going to roll those dice to find out what those are going to be. Okay, so our first tyranny die predictably yielded a result of pride. So that's what we are going to have to post here. This one went for one of the sort of the non-dominant vice. So this one will give us a vice of sloth to oppose. The last one, this wealth die resulted not in its dominant role, which would be greed, but instead it's this overturned goblet, noting debauchery. Looks like we spent our vast wealth partying, as the medieval nobles tend to do. The fourth die did generate the vice of greed. Let's see, what did we do at war? At war we fought. So we went and killed a bunch of enemies. Probably enjoyed that a tiny bit too much, but let's see. So those are the vice that we are going to need to counter with our virtues. The thing that we do now is we are going to reach into our dice bag here, and we are going to pull out tokens until we have 5 virtue tokens in our row. Now, the reasons why I don't just say pull out 5 tokens is because some of them might be regret tokens, and regret is not something that will help us. So you will see, first of all, that the tokens they're color coded, so that you know, for example, that humility matches pride if it has this sort of purplish background, and diligence matches sloth. It's a great way to visually remind yourself where it is. So here we go. Our 5th token is regret. That means that we keep drawing until we actually have 5 usable tokens in the formation. Okay. Now, with the 6th token, we now have 6 of them. Cool. So what are we seeing here? Basically, every token has 2 states of being. It's either fresh, if it has this full color background, or it's used. We can flip it to its blank background that shows that this virtue is still in us, but it's a little weaker. Every token has abilities that we can activate. So for example, activating the diligence ability would allow us to reroll one of these dice. Activating a humility's ability will allow us to remove a regret token from our formation, something we'll undoubtedly want to do. Now, if the token is fresh, if it still has the full color background, you can activate its use ability by flipping it to its used side. You can also activate a used token by removing it from the game completely. Now, if you want to use a very powerful ability, you can discard a fresh token. So you kind of give up on the 2 uses of its ability and you just get rid of it. But in exchange for that, you will get a very powerful ability. Just to give you an example, the diligence token, if you use it, you can re-roll the die. But if you discard it completely, you look at what the die is currently showing and you control it. You put it onto the opposite side. So instead of relying on the randomness of a reroll, you control what the die will show, so that you know what to match. So let's have a look here. So far, we have a grand total of 0 matches. Very exciting. A thing that I see here immediately is that so in order to win, we need to have no regrets in our formation, and we need to have every token matching its the vice showing on the die. So let's see. I immediately want this humility to be moved up all the way here, but the moving of tokens is usually accomplished by kindness tokens. And as we recall, not really a lot of kindness in our behavior. Like, sure, we learned how to make wooden horses apparently, so we can definitely control what these dice show, but not a whole lot that we can do with moving these tokens around. So maybe we might need to rely more on moving the dice around, which is also something we can do. The restrained tokens are responsible for that. Okay, so let's see what we do have to work with. We do have some humility, we do have some learning. Humility allows us to get rid of regret tokens. Fantastic. I think what we're going to do is, because we have two of these, I'm thinking, okay, let's, so you can either use this and put this back into the bag, or we can discard a ready to go humility token, which is pretty appealing, I have to say, and we can turn the regret into a token that doesn't match any of the currently available vice that we have. So the only not currently available vice that we have would be a restraint, right? So like this, although no, restraint would match debauchery. That's not quite true. So we would turn it into a learning, because we have every color here except for black, and black is learning. I'm not sure if I really want to do that. So, okay, one kind of generic ability that every card has is you can add a regret token to your bag to draw 2 new tokens. I feel like we're getting to a point where we need that, because this is not a great pool. It doesn't really match a lot of what we have. And although all right, let's discard this card. I'm not going to go through all of my thinking process here, but basically I did not think that this ability is particularly useful, because we don't have a single, this little mask is intrigue. We don't have a single intrigue in here to counteract, so I don't really think that we can use this. So instead I'm going to put this down, I'm going to get a new regret token, I'm going to put it into my bag, and I'm going to pull out 2 new tokens, shuffling things very well. And our 2 new tokens, I really hope those are not going to be regrets. That would suck. Okay, so we have 1 more humility, and we have a charity token. So charity is great. Charity will get us, we can counteract this. Charity is also responsible for drawing additional tokens out of our bag. So that's wonderful. We're all up for that. So we have a lot of tokens here. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to I feel like we have a lot of learning and a lot of humility, so I'm going to try to see if we can use them in a way that would help us achieve our goals. Let's start with this. Let's start with discarding this humility token. And the discard ability of a humility token is turn a regret to a token that's not matching any vice showing on the dice currently. As we talked about, the only trait that we don't have is this intrigue, but so it's not going to be useful, but it does get rid of an intrigue and it comes into play used. So that's fine. We basically just got rid of a regret. We don't really care about that. Now let's keep looking at what we can do here. So I'm kind of thinking about discarding this this token. This would allow me to turn a vice die to an opposite side. So I'm just going to see what is on the opposite side of these. So this wrath has a greed on the other side. Not super helpful because we only have 1 charity and we needed to match here. This charity has debauchery on the other side. Debauchery is countered by restraint, and we don't have a lot of restraint here either, which is not fantastic. This debauchery, so see, this is actually quite quite an unlucky mix because we really don't have a lot of matching things. So this might work. This is kind of cool. The opposite of the sloth die is pride. So we could potentially take advantage of turning this on the opposite side by being able to bring this humility to match this, but we kind of already need this humility to come over here and match this. So I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Okay, I feel like I need to do a little bit of back management. I'm a little concerned about all the regret that's accumulating here. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ability of the learning token. The learning token allows us to take out 5 tokens from the bag and discard any number of them that we don't like. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look, we already have 2 regrets in here. We definitely don't want any of this stuff. So that's actually quite helpful. And we also, what of this do we want to go back into our bag? I don't want any more humility, so we're going to throw that away. Diligence and restraint should stay. We want them to make an appearance. Okay, that was a good use there. What I would love to see a little bit more of is, like, we're starting to get to a point where we're happier with our bag, we're okay with this, but we need ways to manipulate them. We need ways to maybe move them around a little bit. And that would be the kindness. And we don't really currently have a lot of that. Well, why don't we start by using the charity ability? And the basic ability of it is to draw 1 more token. Okay, so we have another diligence in our mix. Cool. Still does not allow us to do much. Well, I guess the one thing that we can always do is to start discarding tokens from the start, just to shift the whole formation over. It's a little bit of an overkill, but might be something that would work for us. Okay. Okay, let's start by this might be an interesting, you know what, I still feel like a little bit that we need to add more tokens to our row. I don't feel like we have enough tokens here, so I'm going to this. Basically, the ability of this card would be to get rid of regrets adjacent to a single type of a token. We already have humility tokens to deal with that, which makes this a little less useful to us. So what we're going to do is we are going to discard this for our core ability, which is throw in an extra regret and draw 2 new tokens into our formation. Again, we really hope to not pull out regrets, but you know, oh, look at that. Ouch. Oof, that's unlucky. Fine game. Get your point. Tell us how you really feel. You know what? This is pretty bad. So let's get rid of these right away. Let's use this humility and okay. How about this, actually? Let's start using our learning tokens. Learning is another way to get rid of regrets. Very philosophical statement. So the discardability of this is you turn 2 different adjacent tokens into a single used virtue token. So we're going to discard this, and we're going to get rid of 2 of these tokens. And we're going to turn it into a single virtue token, and that virtue is going to be kindness. Okay, now we're going to shift everything over. Now, the ability of kindness is to exchange tokens that are either adjacent or one apart. So we're going to use this use token to do that. We're going to move 2 tokens. So we're going to exchange them, and look at that. Both our pride and sloth is now counteracted by humility and diligence in turn. You can see it by the color matching as well. So that actually kind of gets us closer to what we wanted it to be. No problem, no problem. I do want to have a little more cards in my sequence here. So let's get rid of another card and another regret to draw 2 new tokens from our bag. What I would love to see would be some kindness or some charity in here, but knowing my luck, probably we're going to see some more regrets. Let's do it one by one. Diligence, neither here nor there. It's helpful, but not super helpful. And another one is regret. Well, shoot. I think I kind of jinxed it when I said that having too much regret was not a problem for us. It is definitely becoming more of a problem now. Okay, well, why don't we try to, running out of cards here, as you can see. Why don't we start by just maybe using this this diligence die to try to re-roll this. One of the reasons I'm trying to re-roll this is I'm really trying to get the this learning to be the face up of this die, because this would match the so rather this intrigue that would be matched by learning. So if I either roll this myself or I roll the greed that's opposite of it, then I can use the diligence die by this diligence token by discarding it to turn the die on the opposite side. So for now, we're using the ability of the diligence, and we have a useless sloth here. That does not help us. That was not one of the 2 things that we were hoping to get. All right, well, you know what? It looks like we are just going to have to brute force it a little bit, try to get even more tokens into our formation. Let's hope we succeed with actually getting tokens as opposed to more regret. There we go, come on. So 2 more tokens, and those 2 tokens are going to be charity and kindness, the things we really wanted here. Okay. So a couple of things that we can have a look at here. First of all, using this humility, we can get rid of this. Fine, no problem. Actually, one thing that we can kind of do, let's do it right away. So I'm trying to shift this whole thing a little bit there. And in order to do that, you know what? Why don't we do this? This learning isn't going anywhere, it looks like. So why don't we just use it by because we're using a used token where we just discard it. So we pull out 5 tokens and we discard any number of them that we don't like. This is my way to make sure that our sad bag full of regret is a little bit more manageable. So these regrets, we'll clean this up. Some nice bag management happening here. All of this I would not mind pulling out, I guess, except for humility. You know what, I don't want more humility, so we're going to put this stuff back into the bag. Okay, shift this back. how about we try to okay, check this out. I think a plan is emerging. We're going to use this learning also to continue basically cleaning up our bag, making sure that we don't have any garbage regrets in there. This is medieval therapy, basically, for all intents and purposes. So we want to get rid of this regret, and we want, going to say, probably keep, and I feel like we've been ditching a lot of humility in our bag. Probably, I'm feeling like we don't have that many tokens left in there, so let's not get rid of more good tokens, even if they're not exactly what we're looking for. But, okay, so we have another. As you can see, as I'm doing this, all of our helpful things are kind of slowly migrating over here. Now we're going to use the discard ability of this humility token and turn one of our regrets into a thing that is not matching any of the dice. So right now there are a couple of things that don't appear on the dice. First of all, we don't have any intrigue appearing on the dice, but also we do not have any, kind of weirdly, we do not have any greed appearing on the dice. So that means that I can turn one of our regrets into a charity token, which will absolutely do. There we go. This is good. Okay, so we have this. Boom, 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 boom. Fine, fine. Now check this out. Our last card allows us to turn charity into restraint. And that's exactly what we need here. We're going to throw out this charity and turn it into a restraint, which exactly matches the debauchery card that we have, the die that we have up there. Great. So let's see what else we have. This is actually starting to look pretty good for us. Now we do discard the card upon using its ability. So what we have left is pretty much just need to shift things over a little bit. So this is a use token because you can see the blank background. So let's just use its ability again to we'll discard it, but we'll get a new token out of the bag. Please don't be a regret. Of course, it is a regret. Oh my god. My genius plan is falling apart, guys. That's fine. So good news here is, so I should really keep this updated. This sloth is matched by diligence. Now the only thing that we have here, so match, need to match this. So we need to match this and we need to get rid of 2 regrets. Now the matching of this is going to not be very difficult. We're just going to use the kindness token, turn it over, and the use of the kindness token is to exchange tokens that are adjacent or 1 apart. So these 2 tokens are 1 apart, so we can do that. Now, we really don't have a lot of tokens left. I'm completely out of cards. I think I'm going to go all out here and I'm going to discard this charity. And when I do that, I can take whole 3 tokens out of my bag. That's what charity does to you. So we have learning, humility, and gosh, please don't be a regret. Please don't be a regret. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. Because now, look, we can use this humility once, which allows us to put this back. And we can just use this humility again, discarding it and putting the second regret into the bag. At this point, look at this. Our humility matches our pride, our diligence matches our sloth, restraint matches our debauchery, another diligent sloth, and kindness matches our wrath. We don't have any regret, so we have achieved the win state of the game. Huzzah! Now this game, much like any other, has its own kind of a boss battle. And the boss battle comes in the form of reckoning, a final complication that our noble is going to experience. and we're going to see if after that complication, if we can bring things back into this balanced state. If we are able to do that, then we'll win the game. But if we can't, that means that things have finally gone all the way wrong. So drum roll, let's see what kind of complication we're going to be dealing with. It is going to be us being tormented by the past. You can see our gentleman here really having his medieval PTSD. And the instructions here are: collect the first 5 tokens in your formation and place them back in random order. All of these tokens return to play fresh. So this thing just messed up our beautiful, carefully constructed thing, carefully constructed sequence. And it's going to be up to us to try to recreate this. So I am shuffling this, and God, I hope they return to play at least in some way close to what they used to, but let's see. Okay, and they do all return to play fresh. That's nice. This restraint is a little bit off. The humility came back where it's supposed to. Fantastic. The restraint is a little bit off. This is actually very helpful for us because we have 2 slots. This diligence can go either way to match it. This diligence is at home, and this, look at this. We actually, you know what? We actually got off quite easy with this complication because of, honestly, this was a little bit of a lucky pull here, and the fact that we have 2 slots in these very central locations made this a very easy final complication for us to overcome. Because right now, look at this. By using the kindness token ability, by just flipping it, we can exchange the places of 2 adjacent or 1 apart tokens. So if we just do this, this actually brings us right back into the complete matching kind of a situation. So humility pride, sloth diligence, debauchery restraint, sloth diligence, and wrath kindness. The game is won. Mostly by the fact that we got really lucky with a complication that did not test the kind of setup that we have. We did not lose any of our existing tokens. We did not have to match any additional ones. So with a simple adjustment, we were able to bring things right back into our level of contentment, sort of being able to live with themselves. And our noble, thanks to our efforts here, dies with a sense of peace and obtaining, drumroll, a shred of redemption. There we go. I really hope that this video gives you an opportunity to get a sense for how the game plays. Obviously, it's much faster when you don't talk through every step of the way. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you consider backing it. And thank you very much for watching.